Today, we are going to talk about that friend of yours who is the absolute genius of personal finance these days and always gives everyone great advice about money.
Like the one who lectured you on compound interest when you were only 23 years old?
Exact. The one who probably color codes spreadsheet. Think about him pausing his 401k to fund his partner's self-care budget right now in a very surprising way today.
Do you say something or do you just decide to stay out of this whole complicated situation that seems to be affecting everyone involved right now?
Right. And that is our mission today. We are exploring a viral topic that hit a massive boiling point over this exact situation and the intense consequences caused. And I am Red.
And I am Nora. And this situation that Red mentioned is basically a huge collision between two competing social contracts where we value loyalty, but we respect their autonomy too today.
Exactly. So let's look at the original poster and their friend Jake. They have been best friends for 11 years and have shared many significant life experiences during that time.
And Jake has a girlfriend, Dana. They have been together for 14 months.
Yes, 14 months. And Dana is unemployed and has no plans to work.
Into our garnoise, which is a detail that really sets the stage here.
It really does, because Jake is paying rent, car insurance, phone bill, and this $400 self care fund, while his own retirement savings are paused for the time being today.
And to pay for all that, he literally paused his 401k.
Because things were starting to get really tight for him financially.
I mean, a sudden change in financial behavior like that is essentially a warning light and for a person's boundaries. This tells you that a core system is failing right now.
And normally, a system failure like this culminates in a highly visible breaking point.
The birthday dinner where everything finally started to fall apart for good.
Dana orders an absolute feast, cocktails, appetizers, and everything else. And as soon as the check arrives, she does this highly strategic disappearing act by going to the bathroom.
Right, like a magic act. But the only thing disappearing is Jake's retirement fund.
Exactly. So let's analyze this. On the way home, the author finally confronts Jake gently. This doesn't look like an equal partnership, but rather a very complicated situation.
Ouch. That is a very heavy word to say to a friend.
But wait, society teaches us that relationships are untouchable, right? If I criticize a friend's partner, I risk activating their defensiveness and hurting our friendship today in the process.
And you are potentially running the risk of losing the entire friendship forever.
So, is intervening really necessary, or is staying quiet just, basic self preservation?
It feels totally like self-preservation. But the thousands of comments analyzing this agree that the author did the right thing because a true friend should talk about this very openly now.
Interesting. Why were they so united about this decision?
Well, it all comes down to the mechanics of long-term friendship. A true friend is not just a cheerleader for everything you are doing, even if it feels good initially.
What they statue want to preach now. They need to look at the big picture of things.
Exactly. They operate as guardians of your long-term goals. When a friend makes decisions that contradict their own established values, staying silent is not respecting a boundary.
It's almost as if you are letting him walk into a trap.
It's a form of negligence, actually, when you stop to think about it. Thorexshard sama?
It's negligence, yes, because you have the data that they are actively ignoring,
But of course, speaking your mind means you become the villain of the story.
at least temporarily, which is exactly what happens here. Jake stays in total silence for 4 straight days.
And that silence, is where the real psychological work happens.
What do you mean exactly with that specific statement about the silence?
Well, when our ego is hurt by a friend pointing out our self sabotage, the brain's immediate instinct is to enter a defensive block to protect our own internal sense.
Oh, so you mean protecting our own internal image against damage.
Precisely. Jake's 4 days of silence were not a punishment. It was the psychological equivalent, a clear of a system reset that he needed to perform for his mental sanity.
So he needed that time to resolve the cognitive dissonance
Orn Owen Torbers. Yes, that is exactly what happened during those 4 days of silence.
between the financially smart guy he believes he is, well, and the guy funding a self care budget. Instead of the 401k, while his long term security is at stake now.
Exactly. Which makes the whole follow up situation after the silence completely fascinating.
Because when Jake finally calls, he does not apologize and he does not admit that the author was right.
No, instead, they just spend an hour laughing and reminiscing about the old times,
And then right before hanging up, Jake just says, "I hear you, man."
which is very telling. By bringing up old memories and laughing, Jake is actively anchoring the friendship.
After 11 years together, that bond has to mean something. We can't just throw that away.
He is reinforcing the social contract, signaling that the foundation is still solid despite the conflict. He did not kill the messenger, which is a very good sign for them.
So saying "I hear you" is his way of acknowledging the truth without suffering a total ego collapse.
He does not need to admit that he is being used at that moment. The seed was planted successfully.
So what does all this mean for you listening? I think it's a reminder to evaluate the people in your own life to see who really cares about you today.
For sure. A true friend is someone willing to risk an 11-year bond to protect you from financial ruin.
They are the only ones who would spoil the magic trick. Yeah, to point out and exactly how the illusion is made so that you can finally see the current reality.
And these friends are indispensable, which leaves you with a final question to reflect on.
What is this final question that you want the audience to really think about?
If your closest friend quietly observed your current relationship or your lifestyle from the outside, if what uncomfortable truth they feel compelled to tell you now in this moment?
Evaluare per parsam masur. If you like this content, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your peers. Like right Norgent Alpo, like right now today, so that we can keep making these videos for you.
Until next time, and we see you very soon for another amazing story around here now.